I've lived in my house for about 2 years now, and I've always considered myself to be a pretty inquisitive person. I like to explore, dig deep, and find out what's hiding in the nooks and crannies of my life. I've found a lot of weird stuff over the years, but nothing like this. It started a few weeks ago when I went down to the cellar to grab a few things. The cellar is mostly used for storage, and I haven't spent much time down there. I noticed something strange. There was a section of the wall that seemed out of place. The bricks didn't match the rest of the wall, and there was an unusual set of scratches on them. It almost looked like something had been trying to push its way out. Naturally, I had to check it out. I found a small, hidden door behind some old boxes. At first, I thought it was just an old storage space that I'd never noticed, but when I opened it, I realized it was a small room that I'd never seen before. The air was heavy, like the room had been sealed off for a long time. Inside, there was nothing but a few strange objects, mostly old, whether books and jars filled with something that looked like dirt. The walls of the room were covered in strange symbols that I couldn't make out. I didn't know what I was looking at, but there was something in the air that made me feel like I shouldn't be there. I should have left, but I didn't. I took a few things from the room, mostly the books. There was one in particular that caught my eye, an old leather-bound tome with no title. It had strange symbols etched into the cover, and the spine looked like it was worn from years of use. I figured it might be worth something, so I took it back upstairs and started flipping to the pages. The more I read, the more uneasy I felt. The book described rituals that seemed to be linked to some sort of dark force. It was all written in a language I didn't recognize, but somehow I could still understand it. It talked about opening doors, releasing things that had been locked away for centuries. It didn't take me long to realize that the room in the cellar wasn't just some old storage space. It was a place where people had performed rituals, dangerous rituals.